What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Leave It to the Judges MMA show. Today, guys, we're going to be previewing UFC 297. We're just going to do the main card. I hate to be this guy, but like the card isn't that great. But hey, man, we're spoiled the next few months up to 300 basically, so I'm not going to complain too much. Let's go. You guys want to start at the top or the bottom of the card?
We can go bottom up because we're
Let's
only
go bottom up.
Let's
Clark,
do
why
that.
don't you run us through this fight a little? This is your one of your boys.
This is one of my boys. This is actually a very good fight. Like I would say probably like the second best fight on the card to Strickland Duplessis. I think could see this going either way. I could see Evolov kind of easily out wrestling him, getting top position and all that. But I do think Arnold Allen is very strong in his base, and he's not the easiest to take down. At least I've never seen him get taken down. So I'm curious how Evolov gets to that position, but in the striking, they're very similar tools. Arnold stands orthodox, so actually they both do, so that's pretty. Oh no, not orthodox.
Southpaw.
What'd you say?
Southpaw.
Southpaw.
Southpaw, yeah. They both stand southpaw, which is pretty interesting, I would say. Something to know in this fight. They do both change their stances. I really love this fight. I think it could go either way. I'm gonna stick with my boy though and say he will stay on the feet, and I think his striking's a little more crisp than Evolov. But I could
Yeah.
see Evolov kind of taking him down and winning that way, to be honest with it.
I'm just a little worried for Allen because I feel like he hasn't faced a lot of wrestlers, especially recently. But
I
I do think he has a slight advantage on the feet. I think his performance against Max Holloway is really underrated. Like he didn't do terrible in that fight in my opinion.
He could have like I was disappointed in him in that fight only because I feel like he could have pushed for a dub. Like even though Max was clearly winning, I just felt like he could have pushed a little harder on like an older Max Holloway. That's just my opinion on that fight. But I thought he fought well. I thought it was a 48-47 in my mind for Max. I
Yeah,
think
I'm gonna rock with Arnold Allen, but like, man, the 3 round fight, this is gonna be pretty tough for him, bro. He's really gonna have to like,
he's gonna have to stop the takedown.
yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, I would say I'm kind of leaning Evolov just slightly. Just because like I do kind of feel like he can at least probably ground Allen for like a round and a half. Um, More so I guess while they're like fresh. I'm not like too aware of like what Evolov's cardio would look like if he's not getting the takedown that he wants. Um, in a world where like Arnold Allen can stop all the takedowns, I like you guys said, I would favor him on the feet. Um, and we've seen him go five, so we've seen him go on a competent five. A lot of people have gone five, but it's like really shoddy. Like his cardio, Allen's, I mean, like it's pretty competent at least. Over five, so over three, I don't expect him to have any like gas tank issues really. Um, If I had to like make a prediction, I could see like either Arnold Allen by I don't think anyone finishes the other, but I could see if Arnold Allen can stop a few takedowns, if he can outstrike him for at least two of the rounds. But if I had to predict it, I do think that Ivalev will probably get at least enough top control and be competitive enough on the feet to take it on the judges' scorecards, or at least maybe a splitty. Take the splitty. I would probably say Evalev by split decision.
All right.
I would
I like this.
I'd also add that this, I mean, probably is a title eliminator in my mind.
Um,
Not for Allen though, right?
Well, I
Not
mean,
for
he's
Allen.
done a big win streak before. He just lost to Max. I mean,
it really depends who wins in February.
see, like if Evilov won, if Taporia won. Well,
If
I'm
Yeah,
Taporia, I would
I'm
say if Taporia wins, then that would be probably better for Allen.
yeah.
Um, in terms of him getting a shot, but I think Ivalov could probably get the next shot regardless if he wins against Volk too. Cause just mainly just because like Volk running out of top contenders, man. He is. He just is.
Yeah.
And Ortega might get that shot. I forgot about
I
that.
need that. I need to see it, bro. I
Yeah,
want
I need to see him in the octagon. Like,
I want to see him whoop on Yair, bro. Submit his ass. Like, goddamn.
Well, they're fighting pretty soon, right?
yeah, they're fighting Mexico City. I forgot when that fight is.
I think it's like a few weeks. It's not that far away.
Alrighty, then, boys. Let's move on to the next fight. Chris Curtis versus Mark Andre. How do you say his last name?
I think it's Burial.
Burial.
Yeah.
Really? Okay.
Burial.
I'm gonna go with Chris Curtis in this fight. I think it's just gonna be a slugfest. And I don't know. I got Curtis.
Yeah, I got Curtis. There's something to be said, like for when someone from your gym wins the belt. Especially like Chris Curtis is one of his Sean Strickland's best friends and main sparring partners. So I feel like just that rub of, the gym being in high spirits, the gym with the momentum, the gym kind of feeling like the things that they drill every day can get you to the top. You know what I'm saying? There's something to be said for that. Like when Charles was champ, like how many shoot through box people do we see making their debut? Random short notice didn't matter and whooping ass randomly. There's just something to be said for just being in the room with like greatness or like, a champion. And I feel like that whole gym's probably gonna get a bit of a boost. So yeah, I'm also gonna go with the action man. Even though like it's not gonna be a wash by any means. I think it will be a back and forth for as long as it lasts. But I could see Chris Curtis second or third round TKO.
Yeah.
I'm actually going the other way here. I'm going Burial. The reason being,
Why'd you hate that gym, Clark? Fuck you. No,
no,
I'm
no,
playing.
there's nothing to do with that. Chris Curtis, traditionally, I don't like fighters that start slow, like a Vito Vera had. But and Chris Curtis is the same way. I swear, every time I watch him, he's more of a read guy. He'll pick up reads, and I just feel like at his age, he's not the fastest puncher in the world. I do think this will be a slugfest, but I feel like Barrio definitely can get a takedown. And what we saw in the last fight again with Chris Curtis, he got taken out pretty easily. Now it was against Imavov, who's a lot better of a wrestler, I would assume. But I think Barrio could get the takedowns in this fight and find him in those slugfest situations. I think he has the kind of style to beat someone like Chris Curtis. Is very headstrong, will go forward, put out the jab a lot. Like they're very similar, I would say, in how they fight. But I just feel like Barrios went on a streak as well. Chris Curtis hasn't. He's been kind of on a downslide. And I do see your point about the gym and Strickland motivating him for sure. But Barrios in his home country. I feel like there should be no bigger motivator than that to perform well in front of your home fans. And I think it carries him in this fight.
Well, that's
How
a
do you think he gets it done?
well, that's a valid point. I would say like if there's any gym that doesn't give a fuck about where they're fighting, it's got to be Strickland and them. You know what I mean? Like Strickland never gave a fuck. And I'm just gonna assume that Chris Curtis doesn't either because he podcasts with this man and hangs out with him every goddamn day, fights, spars with him every goddamn day. So
I feel like they're different people, though.
no, definitely. Chris Curtis is like yeah, a much worse version of obviously. He's not as skilled
I
or
think
polished.
Izzy was making fun of his voice on his like channel. He was like watching, or he was like predicting, and he just sounded like him. But I got very probably by decision actually. I don't. It could be a knockout, but I feel like both of them don't have the most power in the world. like the heaviest of hands, so I could easily see it going to decision. And that's how Burial's fight went last time. It was just a back and forth slugfest. They still went to decision.
I could see potentially if Barrio decides to go that route that you're talking about and tries to pursue the takedowns, I could see him banking like maybe around and then having Chris Curtis like, okay, I need to like press type shit. And I feel like that might be, even better for Chris Curtis, like in some weird way. Some people need to like definitively drop that first round so they can get their ass in gear because Chris Curtis, like you said, does tend to be a slow starter. It does seem like sometimes and a lot of his fights, even the ones that he wins, he's like the one that needs to press late because he's probably down at least a round. So I feel that.
Yeah.
You should have known in the Phil Hawes fight, especially once he knocked him out, like the man has no chin.
Facts.
Let's move up to card, guys. The featured fight: Mike Malott versus Neil Magny. Now, do you guys believe in the hype, or is there any hype behind Mike Malott? You guys think? Because I feel like people have been talking about him a lot this week.
I think that we're gonna come out of Saturday thinking that there's hype behind him. Because Neil Magny, love you, buddy, but I think it's to that point. I don't think that he's like washed, but I mean he's washed for him, if that makes sense. He's washed for him. I don't think he's to the point where like he needs to be out the UFC or he can't beat anybody or anything like that. He's not at Tony Ferguson level of panic yet. But I will say like I think it's been very apparent by like the past couple bookings that Neil Magny has like gotten what the UFC thinks of him and what they're trying to use him as. An established vet with a big name. And they're kind of using him to just build up the credibility of these younger up and coming fighters. Um, and I feel like this is kind of no different, at least from like a booking perspective, what the UFC would prefer to happen here. Um, Now Neil Magny, if he can make things very boring, I would say he has a chance in this fight.
Yeah.
But I feel like if it's a fight, I don't see Magny like coming out on top. Uh, Unless he can completely just like push Malott against the cage and like really just kind of hold him for like large stints of this fight, getting like that little minimalist control time. When like not even top control, but just like against the cage. Those little half takedowns against the cage where like someone's like posted up on their hands, but maybe their legs are tied or something, and they're just trying to like it's not much offense happening. But they're just kind of like getting controlled. I feel like at this stage in his career, largely that's Magny's like really only real path to victory against some of these like, harder punchers, and more athletic younger guys. But like with all that being said, I don't think that Malott probably finishes him with strikes because I feel like Magny's still tough. So I would probably guess decision Mike Malott.
Yeah, this fight's so weird to me. The fact that Magny's a plus 205 and he's ranked whatever he is. Um, I like Malott in this fight. I just feel like it's just an age thing here, and I feel like Malott has an answer in every area for someone like Magny. Like even on the ground, I think Malott could dominate that part of the
I
fight.
think you could submit him low key.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think he submits him second round. I think that's how it goes down. But I think Neil, the way he can win, he definitely has the reach. I mean, 7-inch reach advantage. So I would just be putting out the jab, trying to close the space on him, and do his thing and kind of grind him against the cage. I think that's his way to a win. Or even if you take him down and maybe test him down there. I mean, I don't know if Malott's better on the ground, but from what I've seen so far, he's gonna, I feel like, just be able to out muscle him down there, be able to get out of a lot of positions, especially since he's not like the smallest guy either. He's pretty big-ish to the weight
Yeah,
class.
I feel like Neil Magny's been getting some tough draws lately, some tough opponents.
He has. He's been getting the good up and comers for sure. And yeah, I like Milan this fight, but Neil can make it interesting, I would say.
If he
For
can,
sure.
my thing is like I don't see him making it interesting in terms of like beating Malat up. I only see him making it like competitive if he can just stymie him or like out grit him like down the stretch, maybe even like let's say like Malat starts to fatigue a little bit, and then like all of a sudden Neil Magny, because I mean for everything like I don't think that Neil Magny's cardio has dipped that much at least. It might not be what it was in his prime, but like I would still say he has enough cardio and grit to like if you are tired, probably out grit you or like out cardio you, you know?
Yeah.
Um, to say anything less would be like disrespecting him and like also disrespecting the literal quality of opponent that he's been facing in his last couple. Like if we can click Neil Magny's like last couple fights, like you will see a fucking murder's row of fucking contenders. You know what I'm saying? Machado, Burns,
Shaka.
Shavkat, to a lesser extent, um, yeah, yeah,
Rowan Rodriguez.
exactly. So I will say like Malat probably an easier fight than those guys for him, but like I still think that Malat will probably either get a decision or maybe a late finish.
Yeah, I agree. I could see a submission or something. All right, let's move on to the first title fight of the card, the vacant women's bantamweight belt, Silva versus Pennington. Now, both these ladies are actually on pretty impressive winning streaks right now. I think Pennington's on like a 5-fight winning streak. I didn't even realize that. Bruno Silva coming off that submission against Holly Holm. I think the odds are pretty fair. We kind of talked about it before we started. We all kind of have Silva winning this kind. Would you guys say easily?
I would say not easily. I don't want to disrespect Raquel Pennington by saying easily. I don't think Breno Silva's gonna like literally walk through her. I know I said that. I don't think she's gonna walk through her. I just think that she will get the finish probably. Like I see like a a third, fourth round sub even potentially. Like the thing with Bueno Silva is like man, like she's really crafty with her submissions. And she can kind of get them out of anywhere as proven uh against Holly Holm. So it's like I just don't see Raquel Pennington being able to nullify her or keep her like off of her for long enough to like not get subbed at some point. You know what I mean? Also, like the age and like athleticism factor at this stage in the game is heavily leaning Silva's way. And I just feel like it's just her time type shit. Like in this matchup particularly, I feel like it's just her time.
Hmm.
I don't want to give Pennington no chance of winning because she has like reinvented herself recently and like you said, been on a little win streak. But I think that at the highest level, when like the skills are kind of more comparable, youth and explosiveness kind of do matter a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will say this. I don't think Bueno Silva runs through her at first.
Exactly.
I just feel like I think it's a disadvantage for Raquel to have this fight go longer. I think she should try to just go out there and
Bro,
put her on the feet, yeah, or all do whatever. I just feel like the longer the fight goes, the submission will be there. And I just don't think Raquel is good enough on the ground to stop that submission game. I don't think she is at all. So I wouldn't say Bueno Silva will run through her. I think it will be competitive in the beginning of the fight, but as it goes longer, which I expect it to do, I think Bueno Silva will take over in the fight. She'll get the takedowns a lot easier as the fight goes along, and I think the submissions will just be there. And the age thing as well. I mean, I don't know how old Raquel is, but She's a lot older than Bueno Silva. The speed's going to be on Bueno Silva's side. Punching power, not sure. I feel like that's probably kind of equal.
I feel like I would even probably like if I'm gonna give Pennington anything, it's the punching power advantage. If I'm gonna give her anything type shit, it might be even or like I don't think it's a big advantage, but I do think that she probably has at least early on a small power advantage. But I think that the like when once the fatigue starts setting in on both of these girls and the grappling starts to like become a little bit more prominent, I think it's wraps for her. Like to be honest.
Um, this is the first bantamweight title fight without Amanda Nunes in a very long time. I don't know the exact time, but like really quickly, what do you guys think about like the near future of this division now that Amanda's officially gone?
Can we click the division real quick?
Yeah,
Like
let's
which
check it real quick. Let's
rankings?
check it real quick.
Oh, I will say this, Ed. They're going to need to get more fighters for me.
Oh,
Because
here it is. Yeah.
the status it's at is not great. Like you have Yana Santos at 8.
Yeah.
I mean, Carl Rose is a good up and comer, I would say, down there. I don't know, Misha's just
I feel like the division like old, bro.
yeah,
It's
that's the
largely
problem.
old. Like we need some youth injected into the division.
And I feel like they can do that because like the other women's divisions have been pretty like decent recently. And I
Yeah,
feel like this is the one that's really struggling.
no, that's facts.
I feel like that might be just a product also of just like Amanda Nunes was a boogeyman in that division, a bigger woman in that division for so long that like I feel like this new this new champ crown will kind of inject life into the division. That kind of happens when a dominant champion leaves. Like everyone kind of gets a little bit of a boost of like, okay, we never thought that we could beat Amanda, but we might be able to beat these women, you know? So everyone's gonna feel like have a bit of a rejuvenation, I would say.
Now's it, yeah.
And then more women are gonna probably look at the top and be like, I'm only a few fights away from like getting there, you know. If I'm like a woman trying to, you know, a new woman to this division, I'm like, man, rattle off like two good wins and then boom, I'm trying to call for Misha Tate. I might try to call for Holly Holm or even Caitlin Vieira, and then boom, you're already like in the goddamn top 5 that
Shit,
quick.
man.
I feel like
Yeah,
it's a pretty quick path to a title shot, like compared to like, a lot of these more deeper divisions.
for sure.
Like I feel like he's just motivated, bro. I think that no matter what, like I feel like Sean's the kind of guy that like he said that in an interview with Joe Rogan, like every fight he's ever had to not fight, it haunts him. So I don't think that he's the kind of guy that's like that easily forgiving of like what was said. I feel like he's the kind of guy that probably stews on that shit at night, you know, just to like give himself a little bit of an extra edge, you know. Um I feel like the main storyline of this fight is how long can Drakus push a hard pace before he gasses out? I feel like that's really what this fight comes down to for me. We've all seen Strickland fight and against Ivalov, or is that how you say his name? Ivalov, the guy who melted in round 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, against Ivalov, like as we saw, like if you push a hard pace on Sean, you can have some early success. But the thing that makes Sean so special is that for 5 rounds, he fights at the exact same pace. And when you start to tire out, he will turn it up on you and not gas out too much. Um, just because the weapons he throws doesn't like he doesn't do too many big actions that sap his energy. Um, he's more of like a death by 1,000 cuts kind of guy. Um, everyone touts Sean Strickland's grappling as good, but like he never really uses it too heavily. So we don't really know what that looks like if he's forced to actually grapple for extended periods. To this point, he's just been able to get himself up. I haven't seen him like controlled for large periods, except maybe in the Usman fight, but that was like a whole different, scenario. Um, but yeah, they're gonna do the fucking man dance, bro. Uh, my fucking prediction. I say Sean Strickland 4th or 5th round TKO. just because I've seen Dricus gas out too many times, and I don't know if I'm buying this nose surgery thing, especially after a couple good jabs to the nose, fill that thing up with blood. Like I don't even know if he can even breathe out the nose. He's back. He's right back to being a mouth breather, and I think that we've seen what happens when he's a mouth breather, Clark.
He's won every time.
Yeah, but like against who? Darren Till?
Against Brunson and Darren Till, bro.
Hey, it's not his fault. His mouth's wide open for them. Still beats them. Look, man, this is what I'll say. Y'all know I got DDP in this fight. I will say this. It's a lot more even of a matchup than I initially gave it credit for. They both have very awkward styles, and I think that's kind of the story of the fight. Like, which awkward style is better in the octagon? That's my mind. I do agree with the gassing out part. I think it's a huge advantage towards Strickland that he could definitely go 5, push a hard pace. I just feel like DDP is going to use all of his MMA skills very well in this fight. I think he'll move forward when he has to. I think he'll push a hard pace at least the first 2 rounds, maybe even 3. I don't know. The nose surgery thing, I think, did help him, but I did see an interview with Alex Perez who said he got that kind of surgery and it doesn't help out that much. But I mean, watching back in the Whitaker fight, I will say he looked a lot faster. So I don't know if that has to do with the breathing or anything, but he just looked a lot quicker than me. So I just feel like DDP is gonna grind Strickland out at times and then get to space and just punch away. And Strickland, there was some stat in like more than 85% of his wins, he's moving forward always. And then like something like 90 to 100, maybe even 100% of his losses, he will always be backing up. So it tells me he doesn't fight the best off his back foot, which I do give DDP the advantage in. And that's where I feel like the fight is changed. I just feel like once Strickland's backing up, he won't deal with it as well as someone like DDP would, in my opinion. I think DDP, I think a lot of people underestimate him. I'm not saying you guys, but just in general. Like, I'm seeing a lot of people pick for Strickland for sure. But I just feel like they're doing that because he looks very awkward on the feet and the way he strikes. Like, it's kind of ugly, I'm not going to lie, but it works. He punches very hard and he's able to get the finish every time he's out there, even if he's tired. I don't know if he'll be tired in this fight. That's what it'll come down to. Let's see how much he's been working on that cardio. But I like DDP to win this fight because I think it'll just be a brawl and he'll use all of his MMA skills that I think Strickland lack in this fight.
My take, like a big reason that a big storyline for me personally in this fight, is the fact that in the Darren Till fight, not only did he gas, but he gassed after a round of complete domination. Like Darren Till for like the first 4 minutes of that fight had no strikes on him, controlled him the whole time. And he got like an early takedown and was mostly just like resting on his knees, like punching, but like obviously still like resting. My thing is like we've never seen Drakus like in a back and forth like brawl to the point where it is a brawl, like you said. Obviously, when things are going your way, that's less tiring than when you're on the back foot or when things are not going your way. And I just don't see Strickland. I've also seen that like a big recipe for Drakus' success is timely takedowns. I feel like there's a lot of moments where he gashes out, and to his credit, I will say he doesn't have like a depleting gas tank. He has like a comeback gas tank. Like he'll gas out for bits, but if he can get like a decent amount of top control, get to the end of a round, he will come out the next round with like some maybe 2 minutes of energy. He's one of those guys. where I feel like his recoverability is pretty decent. I feel like he comes in decent shape, which allows him to recover quickly, which I will give him like, props for that. But I will say, like, after watching him gas out in a round that like 99% went exactly his way, I do think that Sean Strickland at bare minimum is gonna give a lot more resistance on these takedowns than Darren Till or even like some of his like lesser opponents did. Sean does have like a 90% takedown defense rating, and I just don't. I've never seen a Drakus fight where he got extended in the striking and was not able to get those takedowns that he needs so desperately. Even like against Till in round 2, I believe it was, he was getting peppered up and then shot like what looked like a desperation sloppy takedown that like I feel like at least 8 or 7 times out of 10 in the UFC is not gonna land when you shoot from so far out. A pure desperation takedown, and because it's Darren Till, he kind of just like barely dragged him to the ground and it saved his ass. And I just don't see, and like maybe he might do it a few times, but I don't see over 5 rounds and being able to get all of those timely takedowns when he's gassed. I feel like a big part of his style relies on being able to get those takedowns and rest a little bit on top. And I don't see him being, I feel like Strickland's going to be like keeping him active the whole time and not going to settle on the bottom, even if he does get taken down. And I just think that that's going to gas Drake is too much for him to be able to come back. Because I don't think Sean lets you like rest. If you can say one thing about him, like you do have to fight him for the full duration of the fight. He's not one of those guys that lays off ever. Even if it's like nothing crazy, and even if it's just a teep to the body or like, a jab in your face, that's still exhausting when you're sucking air.
Yeah. And I just don't think I think Dricus's only real avenue to winning the fight is by knockout, like dropping him and getting some ground and pound. I don't like I said, I don't think his wrestling is going to be much of a factor past round like two.
Two.
Honestly, like 3, 4, and 5. I feel like it's going to be really hard to take Strickland down, especially since like because of his cardio. And I know DDP had the surgery and stuff, but like it's not proven that he can go that far. We know Strickland can go that far. And I feel like it's just gonna be a stand-up fight. And if it goes 5 rounds and I'm standing, I'm taking Strickland.
I just feel like I don't think he's gonna go for that many takedowns. I think he uses his wrestling as more of a dirty boxing type of dirty fighting type of style against the cage. I think that's what he'll use it to wear on him.
But what
Get him
I'm saying is
so
like
far.
he'll be wearing on himself while he's doing that. I think he's gonna be thinking he's
Well,
gonna be wearing on Strickland, but I think he's gonna be wearing on his own gas tank because like I said in the Till fight, he was wearing on Darren Till, but who was fucking more gassed the second like half of that round? It was clearly him. He was sucking wind bad.
he's going for takedowns constantly. I just mean like actually pinning him up against the cage and laying on them there.
No, in the Darren Till fight though, like in round 1, he wasn't really going for takedowns. He kind of just got him against the cage and had him on his knees and was punching away. Like it wasn't like like the takedowns were not getting defended very well, and he still gassed out. Is my point. So I just think that even just the grappling in general, I feel like for him it's like, what's his better path to victory? Using that cardio to try to land a big shot on Sean, which I would probably argue is his better chance of victory to knock Sean out. We've seen that Sean, while he doesn't have a soft chin by any means, he can be hurt by the right shot, by the right power. And it's not impossible that Drakus can knock him out. But I do think that is probably his better chance than him trying to grind Strickland out with wrestling, because I feel like in the process of that, he's just gonna grind himself out on accident.
That's definitely fair. I don't know what his cardio is looking like right now going to that fourth and fifth. So I just feel like he can implement a game plan that is a good style to beat Strickland if his cardio isn't like even close to 4.5 rounds good.
And for as good as he looked in the Whitaker fight, that fight did go only like a round and a half. So that does not really prove too much. at the end of the fight, he was huffing and puffing in the interview, talking about, "You see my cardio? It's better." Like, I don't know if that is what I'm seeing, man. Like, you know
I
what I
think I feel like I think he gets really tired and trying to like powerfully like finish people. I think that's why he gassed out a lot in the pill fight. Like when he was just power punching him on the knees, like he was trying to get him out of there, and he clearly just gassed out because of that. I feel like it's just more him going for finishes at times that sometimes aren't there. So he has to figure out how to control that a little bit, I will say. Like not to go 100 miles per hour on like every punch he throws. He definitely has to control that in the fight. Because if he goes hard the entire time, he will definitely gas out. Like if he's just hard, 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 no, Duplessis.
Yeah.
Like I think it'll be a brawl, but I feel like DDP will be a little more technical in the brawl.
I don't think that he is a more technical striker, though. I just think that he's a
No,
more powerful striker.
more technical defensively because there's a stat. Yeah, the Philly shell. Well, there's a stat that's been going around. Apparently, DDP lands more significant strikes than Strickland per minute, and he absorbs less strikes per minute.
Yeah, but he's also fighting like lesser competition.
I was just gonna say, who is he fought outside of Brock Lesnar?
Adesanya. Who's he fought except Adesanya?
Cannoneer.
Cannoneer.
Okay, Cannoneer, I'll give you that. And then who else? Abus.
I mean, bro.
Put up the whole first round. Like,
I'm just saying you can't put too much stock into those type of stats, I feel like, especially in a fight like this.
why not? You're saying Strickland moves forward a lot and throws more punches, but the stats clearly show that's not right.
We know what the fights look like, Clark.
Yeah, it's more of a
Hey man, if our post fight reactions have taught us anything, is that these striking numbers be bullshit. Cause like they be counting little rabbit ass punches, probably on the ground, probably little DDP rabbit punches on the ground getting counted and shit. Like, come on now, we're
He can
not
get
doing that.
he
We're not
can
doing
get
that. We're not doing that, Clark.
That's kind of true, but
and like yeah, I keep saying it,
still
but
can
like
get him there. He still can get him there. So he could land more per minute, anyways.
What'd you say, Ed?
it's just something about that Izzy fight, man. It just gives me confidence. Like Strickland's bound to get one title defense after beating Izzy like that. Like it's just it's destiny, Clark.
It is written, Clark.
Destiny for DDP to fight Izzy in the title fight. That's what's destiny. UFC Africa. That's what Dana White was promising. That's destiny right there.
That has never happened.
Strickland was not even supposed to be here.
UFC Africa is never happening. I'll tell you that much.
Should happen.
No, it is, bro.
Oh, it's not, bro. They had Ngannou, Usman, and Izzy as champs at the same time, and they never went to Africa. It's just not happening, dude.
Well, that was because it was COVID issues, like at that time. They could do it now.
I guess. But
I'm just
any
saying,
final notes, guys?
yeah, DDP knocks him out second round. That's it.
I got Strickland by decision.
I got Strickland 4th round or 5th round TKO.
Good. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Make sure to check out our other videos. Hope you guys enjoy the card as much as we're going to. And make sure to like and subscribe, and we'll catch you.
Peace.
Peace.